Oh, so you're back. Back to the movie time, movie corner. I think this is an appropriate poster to have in the background because what we're talking about is that movie, Taxi Driver. One of my favorite movies, actually. Taxi Driver, another movie that makes me like Martin Scorsese. 1976. Had to look it up real quick. I thought it was 75, something like that. I knew it was mid-70s somewhere. Martin Scorsese, this is another great movie. Another reason I like Martin Scorsese. Does a lot of good movies. This is really, a lot of people say, this is Robert De Niro really at his finest, other than Godfather 2. But it certainly has some powerful moments in this. First of all, I'd like to talk about a couple of things about the Blu-ray edition. If you haven't seen this movie, go check it out. I remember when the Blu-ray edition was scheduled for release. I was really excited about it. This is kind of a special edition because it's got quite a bit going on. This thing folds out, and you got a big picture, and it's got some little bits in here. It's got some poster stuff here. We'll take this out and take a look at it real quick. But it's got stuff like the posters and things. Set that aside here. Let's see if I can do this right. Kind of flashcard it. Anyway, it's got some stills from the movie. The old poster. The iconic thing. There's him and Scorsese right there. The scene that he actually, I heard he came up with on the fly, improv it, the "You talking to me?" And it's been noted that Robert De Niro he refuses to repeat that line now. There's him in the hallway with his green jacket on, and ooh, that's towards the end there. If you haven't seen it, sorry, it's kind of ruining the there it is, the gory look. This is kind of a neat little picture of him strapping the Colt 25 auto to his thing, and there's him in Sport, or Harvey Keitel. Says, "Man, you a real cop or what?" Ooh, Sybil Shepherd. Like the blondes. Alright, and as it does say on the poster, I don't know if you can read it, introducing Jodie Foster. There she is. She actually had her sister double for her for some of the scenes that she could not participate. Why? Because she was underage. Anyway, so this cool that comes with those in there. You can check those out. Anyway, I'll put that back in there later because I'm just not going to fumble with it on camera. So other than that, got a bunch of stuff on the back going on. So I was really waiting for this to come out big time. It's one of my favorite movies. Bought it originally on VHS, and I had to have, there was a certain cover I had to have about it. But anyway, getting on with the movie, it's just basically it's about the guy that's, you know, battling loneliness and can't sleep at night, so he starts driving a taxi cab, and it's like his little personal outlook on society, and it focuses more on the darker side of things that he has seen in perspective. And there's a lot of moments where he's just like the scene where he's at the diner and he's watching his Alka-Seltzer just bubble up, and it really just focuses on that for a long time, and you can just tell like he's slowly just starting to almost deteriorate as a person. So it's really about that loneliness that, you know, he's in, just battling with it, and then, you know, he's just like kind of looking at things, and then he struggles with his love life with Sybil Shepherd as she kind of turns him down in a sense, you know. I think it's a nice look at it in a sense with his relationship with her. In a sense, it was like, man, I think we've all been there where we felt so dragged along and used in a sense. So but no, that was really neat. And then how that fails, and then how he becomes in this connection with Jodie Foster's character, Iris, or as she says, Easy. Well, it's easy to remember. Anyway, and how he becomes wanting to save her from this evil prostitution thing going on, you know, and how he's thinking about that, and that actually seems to occupy his mind and his thing, where that seems to take him off from the darkness of what he's seeing on the streets and running the taxi cab and everything. So that is leads to the ultimate ending, where it culminates to the violence in the end. But so also my favorite scenes in it, which also is flawed in a sense, where he goes to buy some guns from Easy Andy, which is the sleazy gun dealer that goes to the hotel room and illegally purchases a bunch of firearms from him. It's kind of interesting because if you note, before he goes there, he meets up with this interesting character in his cab and starts talking. This guy starts telling him that he is going to, in a sense, murder his wife with a .44 Magnum. And in a sense, it kind of is weird how what that guy said, winds up in his head. And when he goes to buy his firearms or his guns, he asks specifically for a .44 Magnum. And the guy says, well, it's an expensive weapon. He says, that's okay, I got money. And he breaks it out, and there it is, the Smith & Wesson Model 29 8 3/8 barrel. Busts that thing out, and I swear it's like just amazing. And the camera pans it actually while it's in a case. It just does a really good job of making you want one. So anyway, a couple of flaws in the thing where he actually, when he's purchasing his gun, one of the guns he purchases is a Smith & Wesson, supposedly, I think it's a Model 36, it's supposed to be, with a square butt, and it's a nickel plated. And when he's in the gun range, when he's actually shooting these guns, you look at it when it's on the little tray where he's grabbing the guns pointed down range. If you look closely and pause it, that is actually a Colt Detective Special, nickel plated. So it changed from the Smith & Wesson to the Colt. And then also noted, I think it was said that when he buys the Walther PPK or something like that, the 380, it's told it's a Walther, but it's actually an Astra. An Astra, those are interesting firearms that came from Spain. They have really good aesthetics. They look really awesome too. There's one called the Terminator I really wanted, but anyway, that's a whole other bit. But so it's really neat. But that was the flaws that in it. That I guess as a gun guy, you kind of start picking those things up. But I always used to hold the movie to a high regard of so accurate. But anyway, aside from that, the other cool thing is when he's purchasing the guns. As the guy's talking to him, and they kind of sixth sense, that somebody's purchasing guns obviously to hurt people, but he says that snub-nosed 38 there packs a heck of a wallop. And in the end, notably, he actually he pistol whips the guy in the hallway when he's battling it out, going through all that craziness. And I've always liked the ending because it really just showed kind of when he first shoots the one guy in the hallway and the guy's hand comes apart and blood hits Robert De Niro's face and the guy's in shock, he's holding his hand. There's a moment of this disgust and disbelief, I think, on his face. His face says a lot of things, in a sense, but mostly to me I gather this wow, this is kind of, horrific in a sense. And I assume, so anyway, the other thing that noted that really made me I was heading for this, because not only that, they talk about it in the special features about this. The ending of the movie was desaturated. The color was bleached out. And they talk about this in the special features. They talk about one of the guys, the producer, I don't know who it is, but he's talking about it, and he really expresses a lot of disappointment about how the movie, in the end, to get it past the rating board because it was so violent during 1976, they desaturated the color, so they drawn out all the color in the ending, so you don't really see as much. The blood kind of blends in. You still see stuff, but you don't see quite a bit as much as I guess it would be in full color. So with him referring to a lot of that, I thought that with the Blu-ray they would have restored or gone back and fixed it, or maybe, because you always see these black and white movies that they colorized. They could definitely do something like that. They did not. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't. in a sense, you kind of look at it where I understand it if they would say, well, maybe now it's part of its glory, the fact that the ending has a faded look. But I would have done it where you could watch two versions of the film. It brought back to its original color and glory, or you could watch it the way it was edited down and cut. So I'm glad they didn't cut anything from the ending, because it would have lost its powerful impact, I think, for that kind of violence being shown on screen for 1976. I mean, it was pretty horrific. I mean, the guy's hand literally blows apart. And also the guy that did the special effects for it is Dick Smith. He's also a really he's like the master of a lot of stuff. He created a lot of effects that are still used today. He's also the guy that created the effects for The Exorcist, the original one, the William Friedkin one. That he did all the effects for that. So that kind of gives you an idea how good he is and who he is, because The Exorcist still scares people today. It is a freaky movie. So, but yes, Taxi Driver, really cool movie. I always liked it. Again, this is not really like a thorough movie review. It's kind of mostly like my interpretation on it, what I gather from it. And mostly we're talking about the Blu-ray edition. You can still buy this. It is still available. It is still one of my favorite movies. It's just that I do wish they kind of would have fixed the ending, but it is, I guess, what it is. So thanks for joining me for Movie Time. I'm Bad Jack JW. You are signed in to the Combat 86 radio show and my daily vlogs. If you're not already subscribed, think about doing so. Thanks for those that are subscribed and you watch my videos every day. I much appreciate it. I know who you are. Thanks.